Hey everyone, I apologize for the tardiness on this week's video. It's a little bit late, although I suppose it's relatively early in the actual week, but in the relative football week, it's very late because the Bills are playing on Tuesday Night Football. And with all the positive tests coming out of Tennessee amongst players, amongst coaches, etc., and this whole scheduling mess, I wasn't sure if I was going to have a game to preview for you. Are the Bills playing Tuesday? Are they playing Thursday? Are they playing Saturday, Sunday, Monday? Are they playing just Thursday? Are they playing Tuesday and Saturday? Or Tuesday and Sunday? Or Tuesday and Monday? Are they playing one game in 20 days? Are they playing 2 games in 5 days or 6 days or 7 days? Whatever. Tuesday, Monday. Tuesday, Titans. Monday, Chiefs. Bills are 4-0. Moved to 4-0 this past weekend against the Raiders. 30-23. And one of the things that I've been super optimistic about the Bills, that's making me super optimistic about the Bills this season, is the way they've started games. They've had at least 17 points in the first half of every game this season. 21 against the Jets, 17 against the Dolphins, 21 against the Rams, and 17 this past week against the Raiders. 21-17, 21-17. They're setting themselves up beautifully to win games in the second half. Just take this past week, for example. 75 yards, touchdown, 75 yards, touchdown. They have 14 points, and the Raiders, meanwhile, are going 48 yards, field goal, 54 yards, field goal. And I'm thinking, great, because I am at the point with the Bills where I think they are good. Thus, if you are going to kick field goals against the Bills, I am of the opinion that you are doing the Bills a favor. And I've really never said that about the Bills in my entire life. Those types of comments are reserved for like the Aaron Rodgerses and the Tom Brady's and the Drew Brees and those type of teams, and the Chiefs, the Patrick Mahomeses, of course. But the Bills and the Raiders each score on their only 3 possessions of the first half, but it's 17-13 Bills at halftime because the Bills have scored 2 touchdowns and kicked a field goal. They kicked the field goal after Josh Allen has that quick scare there with his left shoulder, but he's okay. He's fine. He's good to go. He came back. And the Raiders kicked 2 field goals. Then the Raiders come out in the third quarter, and they go 11 plays, 68 yards, 4th and 2 at the Buffalo 7-yard line, I believe it was, and they kick another field goal. Thank you, John Gruden, for being such an old-school football coach that just wants to run the ball on first down and kick field goals and just take the points and whatever. No forward thinking whatsoever from John Gruden. Thank you, because the Raiders really could have put the Bills. They could have handicapped the Bills in a way They could have taken the lead there in the third quarter, because the third quarter, for whatever reason, again, and this is maybe a separate point, but let's hit it, that what is wrong with the Bills in the third quarter? I don't understand what it is when they come out of the locker room and they just can't seem to sort of put something together. They scored a touchdown against the Rams last week, but then the Rams came back with a fury. And this week, was it terrible? No, they really only had 1 full possession in the third quarter, 9 plays, 29 yards, and they end up punting. But and not that the Raiders did anything great either, but it's just like an uninspiring, boring third quarter. And they finally get the ball back with 2:23 left, and they end up scoring a touchdown on the drive. But it's like the first play of the fourth quarter, of course, because the John Brown play. Let's talk about the John Brown play for like 10 seconds, okay? He's got it. He's crossed the plane. Don't give me some BS about him going to the ground so he has to do. No. He has the ball. He's across the plane. That's your rule. That's touchdown. End of story. Okay? Spare me these stupid rules. That's a dumb rule. The interceptions 2 weeks ago against the Rams was a dumb rule. But again, fourth quarter, lights come on. Josh Allen scores on the first play. Bills go up 23-16. Raiders get the ball back. They move the ball a little bit. They get a first down here or there. And then I think they had like 2nd and 11 or something, and Josh Norman, in his first game with the Bills, punches the ball out of Darren Waller, recovers it himself. Next play, shot play, Bills 49 yards to Diggs. Like, why do the lights just come on for this team in the fourth quarter? Don't get me wrong, I love it, but the third quarter stuff is bound to catch up with them at some point. It didn't really nearly caught up with them 2 weeks ago against the Rams. They were fortunate to get out of that game with a win, but that's neither here nor there at this point. They're 4-0. My number one really concern so far, I would say, would be, other than that these third quarter fiascos, would be pass rush. Like Derek Carr, did it take him 44 pass attempts to get to 300 passing yards? Yes. and really took him that last drive when the Bills go up 30-16, where they start with 3:31 left, and he goes over 300 on that drive and throws a touchdown. But like the Bills they were generating no pressure. They ended up getting a sack fumble from Quentin Jefferson, which was huge, obviously, and another sack from Darryl Johnson. But the Bills, I'm looking at, I pulled these up for this purpose exactly. The Bills, in terms of blitz percentage of plays blitzed, 39.2%, second most in the league behind Tampa Bay. They have 8 quarterback hurries, which is defined as the quarterback threw the ball earlier than intended or was chased out of the pocket. 8. That's tied for the second worst in the league. Only the Lions have fewer. They're tied with Arizona. So they're blitzing, and they're not getting there. They have 10 sacks, which is very, very middle of the road. Their pressure percentage, let me pull it up real quick, is 18.8%, which is very middle, bottom third of the league. So Jerry Hughes has no sacks. Mario Addison is the only player with more than one. So I would really love to see them getting more pressure. Again, I do think it's foolish to sort of rely on defense every year. I think a lot of people just thought the Bills would be good on defense because they were good on defense last year, that would just translate, and defense just fluctuates so much. The players changed not too much, but you're better on offense. And when you're better on offense, teams are just going to play you better. I feel like that's just how things go. Look at what the Raiders did on Sunday against the Chiefs. Are the Raiders supposed to be world beaters by any means? No, the Bills just beat them 30-23, and it was 30-16 in the fourth quarter. But they hang 40 on the Chiefs. The Chiefs are supposed to have this improving defense, but like, not exactly. Look at this week's opponent. Let's say here's a great transition. The Titans. The Titans last year, they wanted to run the ball with Derrick Henry and play good defense. And it caught up to them in the AFC Championship. The Chiefs hung 35 on them. Now, this year, they have allowed... They played a pretty good defensive game against Denver. They only allowed 323 total yards. They were pretty good against them, and they really should have beat them bigger, I thought. But, Gostkowski missed 3 field goals. He hasn't missed since. It's been a nice positive for them. But 33-30 to the Jags, 31-30 against Minnesota. So you could make the argument that they're fortunate to be 3-0. And here I am. I'm going to maybe make a point about Tennessee being a little bit lucky. Luck plays a part in things for all teams. The Bills are a little bit lucky to beat the Rams on that defensive pass interference call. But that happens to every team. The Titans fans, if you're watching the video, a couple of years ago, I made this point that the Titans were really lucky, and my comments were flooded with people who just don't understand how luck works. They're like, oh, if this didn't get flagged or whatever, okay, that's luck. That's something that's out of your control, that you're fortunate was flagged or whatever the heck. I don't mean to go off on some tangent, okay? But the Titans are a lot, as far as, betting on defense was the sort of point that I was going to make. They allowed 30 to Jacksonville, 30 to Minnesota. Denver could have beaten them. Denver was up 14-13. They needed that late field goal from Gostkowski to beat them. And they're not pressuring the quarterback very well as well, and it's despite the fact that they added Tre'Davious Clowney, that they have really nice players at linebacker like Jayon Brown and Rashaan Evans and Harold Landry. They have 4 sacks. Are they last in the league? Dead last in the league. They've played one less game than a couple of other teams, mind you. Dead last in the league with 4 sacks, which doesn't really make a ton of sense because their pressure percentage is 4th in the league at 27%. So they're doing a good job of generating pressure, but for some reason they just can't finish off sacks. And those are probably due for course correction. Hopefully it doesn't come this week against the Bills. The Bills have some injuries in their own right, and some of them are on the offensive line. Cody Ford is questionable. Brian Winters is questionable. Quentin Spain lost his left guard position to Cody Ford, so maybe Quentin Spain slides into right guard because it looks like the Bills want Cody Ford to play left guard long term and maybe just leave Darrell Williams at right tackle. So the Bills have been doing they have their own internal issues, but they've been able to mask them a lot better. Because they've had the issues on defense as well. I just talked about with the pass rush. Now they have injuries. Levi Wallace is out. He's on IR. Tre'Davious White didn't practice all week. Looks like he might not even play in this game. And Matt Milano is already out. So that there's an advantage to the Titans. But let's flip back to them. They have a couple of players out they're on the COVID list. So Corey Davis is on the COVID list. Probably isn't going to play. Adam Humphries, same thing. Michael Pruitt, who's a depth tight end for them. But Davis, Humphries, and Pruitt are the only 3 players on the Titans not named Jonnu Smith or Derrick Henry that have scored touchdowns for the Titans this year. So they're going to have to get that production from somebody else. Don't get me wrong, I love Jonnu Smith. He's one of my favorite tight ends in the league, to be honest with you. I've liked him forever. He's an athletic freak. He had a really nice play against the Bills in their victory down in Tennessee last year. It was like a 50-some-odd yard play or something. And I enjoy seeing players, especially because you want to be proven right. That old confirmation bias thing is, you like seeing players that you think are good actually play good, and then you're like, I told you so. So I guess that's sort of Jonnu Smith with me, but that's neither here nor there, I suppose. The Titans are just who are they really throwing the ball to other than Smith? And Henry has struggled a little bit to start this season. He got right against Minnesota by scoring a pair of touchdowns late in that game. But as I'm trying to pull up the box score, love technology. So Derrick Henry ends up with 26 carries for 119 yards and 2 touchdowns. So that's vintage Derrick Henry there. Tannehill has been good, 321 yards. He's a nice deep target with Khalif Raymond. Am I buying Khalif Raymond as like a long-term solution for them, as like a week in, week out dependable player? No, not really. But could he make plays on Sunday? Sure. The Bills are short-handed at corner. They're going to have maybe some form of Cam Lewis and Taron Johnson in the slot and like Saran Neal alongside Josh Norman, who is probably going to have to take A.J. Brown. Like, I favor A.J. Brown in that matchup. I think we could be in for a high-scoring affair on Tuesday Night Football between the Titans and Bills. The Titans obviously haven't practiced that much, but they're professionals. I don't think that that's going to play too big of a factor in anything. I think that Tannehill knows his guys well enough, knows Raymond and Brown and Henry and everybody, and Jonnu Smith, obviously. I don't think that not practicing is going to hinder them all too much. But they have injuries. Like I said, they have injuries. They have guys on the COVID list. They have injuries in their own right as well. Adoree Jackson is on IR. Jeffrey Simmons actually isn't hurt. He's on the COVID list. So I like the middle of the field there for the Titans defensively with Simmons there. I think that there's a nice, sizable hole there, but they still have some good linebackers in the middle there with Brown and Evans. I do think the Bills might be able to run the ball a little bit better, especially if they get Zach Moss back. I guess that maybe depends on what they do at offensive line. There's just question marks on both sides of the ball for both teams. With Jackson out at corner, as I mentioned, for the Titans, and Christian Fulton is on IR, who's a rookie for them, but he wasn't starting, but he's a young, promising rookie. They have Malcolm Butler, who I've never been a big fan of, ever, and Jonathan Joseph, who is on the downslope to 40 years old. So I think advantage Brown, Beasley, Diggs. Maybe Brown's a little bit questionable. Like this is a weird game. This is a weird game. It might come down to quarterback play. If the Titans want to run the ball against the Bills, want to run the ball all day against the Bills, I might let them. Don't let them beat you through the air. This is a strategy that I've talked about multiple times on these videos, and it bears repeating. If they want to beat you on the ground, let them beat you on the ground, I suppose, because they're not beating you through the air. Statistically speaking, you just score through the air. You just score more often through the air. You eat the clock on the ground. I understand that. But if the Bills are putting up points, which they have shown that they are able to do, and the Titans just want to run the ball, advantage Titans. Because that's what the Raiders wanted to do. The Raiders would have just rather ran Josh Jacobs and just beat the Bills somehow that way. And they couldn't do it. And granted, they still had their shots. And I think the Titans will have their shots this week as well. But I'm going to pick the Bills. I'm going to pick the Bills to beat the Titans, let's say 30-27 on Tuesday Night Football. And that'll bring us into next week. I'll see you guys again this week against the Chiefs, which should have been Thursday night, which would have been a cool thing for them, but it's going to be Monday night at, 5 o'clock, which is just strange, but at least the Bills are once again going to be in prime time. These are two big games for the Bills, the Titans and then the Chiefs. Like, those are the defending Super Bowl champions. These are the two teams that were in the AFC Championship last year. Let's see what we're made of, all right? Guys, hit me up on Twitter. My YouTube username and Twitter handle are the same. Thank you, as always. I'll talk to you guys later in the week. Enjoy Tuesday Night Football, and as always, above all else, Go Bills.